Hello everyone and welcome to our live stream for the Great Bookish Menu. My name is Chris Wilson and I'm the E-Services Librarian, and I'm joined today with Lauren McIntyre from Coatbridge Library, who is the person really who came up with the whole idea of the Great Bookish Menu, and so I thought I'd get her along on this live stream to tell us a little bit more about the reading challenge, and also I thought we'd maybe go through a few books ourselves and kind of tell you what we might plan to read, and so possibly give you a few hints and suggestions and things like that as well. So welcome Lauren, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having me. Hi everyone. So I'm Lauren, I'm the librarian at Coatbridge Library. So the Great Bookish Menu is our reading challenge for adults, which this year is in its fourth year. The aim of the challenge is to read 6 books, one from each of 6 different themes, which change every year. So this year's themes are to read a sci-fi or fantasy book, to read a book featuring a well-known hero or heroine, to read a work of fiction by a BAME, that's a Black, Asian and minority ethnic author, read a work of fiction set in Scotland, read a work of non-fiction about nature or the great outdoors, and to read a book with a colour in the title. So the hope is that by reading, a book from each of these different themes, it'll kind of take you out of your usual reading choices, and sort of like something a bit out of your comfort zone. You maybe pick up something you wouldn't usually pick up in the library. And this year the challenge runs from the 12th of July until the 8th of October, so there's plenty of time to take part and complete the challenge. We also run a wee prize draw for everyone who completes the challenge to win some book token prizes at the end of the challenge period, so it's worth taking part to try and win those as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you remember the dates, because they completely went out of my head and I forgot to check that before we came on, so that was good that you remembered the dates for that as well. In terms of signing up for the challenge as well, in the branches there should be posters in the branches in your displays and things like that, and they'll have a QR code on it, and you can scan that and it'll take you to our webpage for there's a sign up form to join the challenge. Or I've also, in the description to this video, there should be a link to that webpage as well, so you can obviously just click on that, go straight through and sign up and join the challenge as well. So we get started with a few book suggestions. Lauren,
Sounds good.
Do you want to go first? What category will we go for first?
Yeah, shall we start with sci-fi or fantasy?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay, so will I go first? Yeah. So my choice is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. So this is a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, which I absolutely loved. And it's set. This is set during. I know, who doesn't? This is one for everyone. So this is set during the 10th annual Hunger Games. So at the time this is written, it's supposed to be set. It's still quite a new idea, and it focuses on Coriolanus Snow, who, and spoiler alert for anyone who has not read the Hunger Games books or seen the film, is president of Panem during the original Hunger Games trilogy. So I'm really quite interested to find out what his backstory is and how, after being part of the games, he can still let it take place. So I'm really excited to read this. Was quite a surprise that it came out for me. I wasn't expecting a prequel at any point, so I'm really excited to get stuck into this one.
Yeah, I've actually, it's not my list of books here, but that is something that I would love to read at some point as well. I was also a massive Hunger Games fan whenever it came out, and the idea of kind of finding out a little bit more about him is a great idea, and so I think I'll definitely have to kind of get into reading that at some point. Now, the book that I have picked is, now I'm probably going to slaughter the pronunciation of this author's name, so I'm just going to apologise to him at the moment. It is this one, and I believe it is Louis Sichin or something close to that. Hopefully that's kind of roundabout right. And it is The Three-Body Problem. I picked this book up because, as you can, I'm a complete sucker for like quotes on books, and I don't know if you can see that one at the bottom, but it is by Barack Obama, and it is a scope of versus events. And I just thought, if Barack Obama likes this book, then it's definitely worth a read. So
absolutely,
it's set in China, and it's a kind of sort of the Chinese during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, and there's a single event that will shape not only the rest of her life, but also the future of mankind, and it's a part of a trilogy, I think it is, or at least a series, and it just kind of stood out to me a little bit, and I thought it sounds fantastic. And it's been a long time since I've read any science fiction books, so I just thought that it sounded kind of really interesting. And basically, the board in the back, 4 decades later, Beijing police asked nanotech engineer to infiltrate a secret cabal of scientists after a spate of inexplicable suicides, and Wang's investigation will lead him to a mysterious online game and immerse him in a virtual world ruled by the intractable and unpredictable interaction of its 3 sons. So it just sounds dead interesting. It's kind of combining a bit of kind of virtual kind of action in there and things like that as well. It made me kind of think a little bit of the game, the one that I'm going to forget the name of, the Ender's Game, I think it is. A little bit as well, so there's kind of got that kind of virtual kind of world kind of part to it and things like that. So that was my choice.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Right. What will we go with next, Lauren?
Shall we go with a book featuring a colour in the title?
Yeah. Okay.
Did you want to go first this time?
Okay, right. I'll go first. The one I picked for this was the Silver Linings Playbook.
Nice.
By Matthew Quick. It's not a new book by any means, it's been out for a long time, and as you can see from the cover of this book, it has been made into a film as well. I really loved the film, and I just have never read the book. I've had the book for a long time, but just never got around to reading it. So I thought this would be a good chance to kind of get reading this one. It follows the kind of the 2 main characters in it and their relationship as they can kind of get sort of build their relationship, things like that sort of stuff. It's just dead interesting. So that was my choice for the colour one. So I went with this.
Fantastic. And Link, same actress playing Katniss in the Hunger Games as well. True. Stars on the cover of the book.
Yeah. Not that we're Jennifer Lawrence super fans of them, but yeah.
So my choice is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, which is quite an old one. It's been on my to-read list for quite a long time. It was actually recommended to me by one of the library customers who used to come and do some of the groups we had in Coatbridge back in normal times, pre-COVID times, when we were allowed to meet up. So this is it's an early example of detective fiction, and also which is something that I quite enjoy, and also it falls under the category of sensation novels, which I only recently discovered is a thing. So I'm quite excited to read that. It's supposed to be based on a true story, so I think there's quite a lot of like mystery and intrigue in the novel, so that's why I chose that one as well. So again, not a new book at all, but sometimes it's quite nice to just go back to the classics because it's quite easy to skip over them. So so it's been on my to-read list for a while, so it's about time, I think. I got around to it.
Definitely. Fantastic. Right, what category will we go for next?
How about a book featuring a well-known hero or heroine?
Okie doke. Right. I'll go first with this one, and I'm not sure. I might be kind of like this. This is a bit of a tentative one. I'm not really sure how much of a hero or well-known hero it is, but I thought along the kind of Hunger Games kind of idea, and the it's not a Hunger Games one, but it was probably one of the biggest YA series after that, and this isn't Divergent, but this is a part of the Divergent series.
Nice.
So this is called 4, and it is it's a sort of I'm not sure I can't remember if it's a prequel or sequel, but I think it's a prequel, and it features all the characters that were in Divergent, and if you haven't read Divergent, you really should. But the main character in that is Triss, I think her name is, or Beatrice Pryor, and she's a kind of lead character, kind of along the lines of Katniss, where there's kind of lots of struggles in the kind of dystopian world that they're living in, and they have to kind of go and try and lead the revolution and things like that sort of stuff in it. And so it's and 4 is the love interest, if you like, in it, and so this is kind of stories from his point of view, I think it is, and things like that. So again, one that I have had for a long time but just never quite got around to. So but it's got a number of titles, so this is a perfect opportunity to get along to it.
Brilliant. So my choice is it's a Breakfast at Tiffany's by, and hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly, Truman Capote. So this is one of those books where I actually watched the film first, and I've just never got round to reading the book. But I think who didn't watch Breakfast at Tiffany's and want to be Audrey Hepburn in that film? So and I just love this idea of the character Holly and her 1940s glamorous like New York lifestyle. So, and she's just liked by everyone, and just, it's really looking forward to reading the book after loving the film. It's, an American classic as well, so it'll be quite nice to read and find out a bit more about Holly.
Fantastic. Now, next on my list, I think if we're kind of doing the order that I got down, is read a non-fiction book about nature or the great outdoors. So I'm working from home, so I don't have access to a whole library to try and pick books from to show you. So I struggled with the category a little bit because I'm not a big non-fiction reader, I have to admit. So I have already read the book that I'm going to show you. So this is more a bit of a recommendation rather than of what I may read for this category. I may have to visit one of our libraries to go and pick up something for this one. But I'm going to pick The Outrun by Amy Liptrop. Now, it's not kind of solely about the outdoors, because it is about Amy's own personal story about her battle with addictions and things like that. But in the story, and it's not really story, in the book, she tells of her time where she goes and lives in Orkney for a while, and the book really kind of describes really well the kind of how remote the kind of the area is, and the landscapes, and the kind of her experiences of coming across like wildlife and things like that sort of stuff. So it's definitely kind of, although it's not the kind of main aim of the book about the kind of outdoors part of it, it definitely comes through very vividly, the kind of descriptions of the of Orkney and things like that. So I thought that was kind of qualifies for this category for the Great Bookish Menu. So if you've not read it, go and have a read.
Fantastic. So my choice for this one is it's called A Single Swallow by Horatio Clare. I picked this book because during the first lockdown, I got really into sort of bird watching. There was loads of, I live quite near a little wooded area, so I came across loads of little birds that I'd never known before, and it was just a really nice thing to be doing during lockdown, and it's something that I can talk to my girl about as well, which is lovely. And I picked this up just because, it's just, I'm really amazed by how far these little swallows are able to journey. So they travel from South Africa to the UK every year, which I think is amazing because they're just teeny tiny little things. And I think it's just really, I think it would just be a really nice thing to to find out a bit more about, because I find it very, always find it very calming, just going outdoors during the lockdown and seeing, what was round about me. So I think it's just quite nice just to learn a little bit more, and it's been really nice just to learn something new, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, things like the kind of migration of birds and things like that, it's just incredible, and maybe kind of find out a little bit more about how that actually happens and things like that would be quite very interesting to find out. I am a bit of a nature documentary watcher, I have to admit. I do like a good old nature documentary, so I could definitely kind of easily get into that, I think, and find out a little bit more about that. We have got 2 categories left, I think, if I'm counting that right.
Yep.
So I'll let you choose, Lauren. Which one would you like to go with next?
So shall we do a work of fiction by a BAME author?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So my choice is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is an author I'm quite new to. So he was born in Japan, but he moved to the UK when he was really young, so when he was just a child. So I think he's got quite a unique sense of the world and quite an interesting outlook. So this book focuses on I've just started reading it, a young girl called Josie and her AF, which is an artificial friend, and just like the relationship between them and how human is Clara, the AF, and I think it's just I think it just raises some quite interesting ideas, because I find that kind of technology like really interesting, but also absolutely terrifying. So that's it's just kind of like right up my street, and it's just something a little bit different as well, and it's just quite interesting to see like how human Clara is, but how human she isn't as well, and just that line between, kind of real and not real.
Yeah. I mean, ever since Blade Runner, it's been a big fascination for me. So yeah, that sounds very interesting. Like the kind of the blurred lines of reality and kind of AI and things like that. So yeah, and I think that will only increase in our lifetimes as we get older.
Absolutely.
So who knows where the world will be in a few years' time? Maybe maybe we're working more towards the fiction of the past. My choice for this is what I'm actually reading at the moment, which is Mrs. Death, by Selena Godin. It's a very interesting story so far. I mean, I've not got too far in it, which isn't really good because it's for my book group, which ends very soon for this month. So I'm going to have to get my finger out and read a lot of this in the next few days. It's a story kind of about death and how death is kind of usually portrayed as the Grim Reaper, but in this story it's actually a woman, and how she comes and kind of meets the sort of the other main character in this, who's actually kind of the writer of the story. So it's as if he's kind of writing about his experiences as the book goes on, if that makes any sense. Selena Godin, as far as I know, is a poet, and you can really kind of, I do feel as if you can really tell that as you're reading it. There is sections of it that are kind of quite poet-like, or poetry-like, and so yeah, that's my one at the moment, and that's my current read as well for our book group and things like that. So hopefully I'll get to the end of that by the end of the month, which I've not got much to go, but we'll get there.
Fantastic.
And so that means our final category is read a work of fiction set in Scotland. So
yes,
what would you like to go for this one, Lauren?
Okay, so my choice is The Ninth Child by Sally Magnuson. So I read her book The Seal Woman's Gift a few years ago, and I absolutely loved it. It was, although it was fiction, it was based on a period of Scottish history that I knew nothing about. So it was really, and this is the same as well. I don't really know an awful lot about Scottish history or Scottish myth, and this kind of combines both of them, as well as being a fiction. So it's set in the Highlands during the mid 1800s, and it's sort of like the young woman Isabel, who's the main character. She's got a mysterious presence around her, and it's her trying to find out what that presence is. So so quite mysterious and just quite just like I say, because it combines a bit of like Scottish myth as well, which I don't know an awful lot about. So that's something that's a wee bit different for me to be reading as well.
Fantastic. Well, the one I have went for is one that I've been meaning to read for a long, long time and just not quite got around to it. And it is Young Team by Graham Armstrong. And Graham Armstrong is actually from Airdrie, which is where I'm from. I'm just the kind of connection to draws me to this instantly anyway. And the story is kind of basically about a boy called Azzy Williams, and he is kind of gets involved in sort of gang culture a little bit in the industrial heartlands of Scotland. So it's I kind of feel as if it's kind of set sort of in this area. I don't know if it's actually specifically set in Airdrie, because I've not read it, but it's kind of based sort of on a Scottish town in this sort of area, and it sounds quite similar to a lot of the experiences that Graham's had in his own life as well. It's not a kind of autobiographical type thing. He has said it as a work of fiction, but he also does relate it quite a lot to some of the things that has happened in his past and things like that. Graham Armstrong does sound a very interesting author in my opinion. I did see a video clip of him talking about his experience of how he got into writing and things like that, and he said that he read Trainspotting and it completely changed his life, and he just from there he decided to try and write a book, and which this is the product of, and now he's kind of doing quite well on the back of this book. This is his first book, and I do think he's got another one coming fairly soon, or in the kind of not too distant future, as well, which is fantastic. So that's my choice for my Scottish read. So
fantastic.
There we go. So that's some fantastic suggestions for you guys, and also hopefully some great books for us to get our teeth into as well, Lauren. I thought I'd kind of finish up with just a wee reminder of how to sign up. So in the branches there should be some posters up near some displays. There should be hopefully some displays in most of the libraries with some kind of suggestions for the categories for the challenge. On the poster there is a QR code which you can scan with your phone. It'll take you to the web page to sign up, and once you've done that, that's you registered. You read through the books. There is also a wee kind of forum on the website as well that you can download to use as well to kind of keep track of how you're doing. Once you've completed it, do remember to email us in to tell us that you've completed the challenge, because by doing that you get entered into a prize draw, and the prize draw is book tokens, I think. Is that right, Lauren?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's also a wonderful prize for any book lover to get their hands on. Who doesn't like to get some books for yourself from book tokens? Which is fantastic. And on our website as well, there is also links on the webpage for you sign up. There is links through to lists of suggestions which Lauren has painstakingly put together, and for more suggestions for you as well. If it's something that you've not really read before, there is plenty of suggestions in there for you to get your teeth into too. And get yourself sorted that way in terms of finding something to read for the challenge. So, and there's already quite a few people signed up, which is nice. But we would always like more, and we will be also kind of putting out some little fun facts and things like that about some books that relate to the categories and things like that over the course of the time for the challenge on our social media as well. So do watch out for them, and you never know, you might kind of pick up a little interesting fact about an author or book that you didn't know about already. But that's all for us, really, guys. Unless Lauren wants to add anything to tell you anything more about.
No, I just hope people enjoy taking part, and I hope anyone taking part finds something new that they enjoy reading.
Yeah. I think the challenge we've run for a few years now, and I think the people who have taken part in the past have found it really interesting. It has pushed them out of their comfort zone of reading the same kind of thing, like crime novels all the time, or kind of romancy kind of stories all the time and things like that. It does challenge you to push yourself out of that kind of safe zone of reading the same type of thing all the time. So do sign up, take part, and you never know what you might discover. You might discover your next favourite read. So
exactly.
But that's all for us, guys. I will sign off at that, and have a great day, and we will catch you soon. And don't forget to sign up in our challenge. Bye for now, guys.
Okay, thanks. Bye.